Hey yo!
What the fuck?
I'm you from the future, and I'm here to tell you the shit that I wish everyone had told me when I was starting.
Holy shit, he's so fucking cool.
So your friend's trying to make you play Catgirl Fantasy Heaven 14, but you don't have the slightest idea on where to start. How did I get here, and who are these people? Unimportant, let's talk about the game launcher. When it comes to buying the game, you can buy the game through Square Enix, or you can buy it through Steam. Square Enix's launcher is totally universal, and you can launch any Square Enix account on any Square Enix launcher. So if you go to your friend's house, you can play on your account. But if you play it through Steam, you can only open it through the Steam launcher, which sucks. If Steam is down, the Steam launcher won't work. So if you're trying to make it to Raid on Time on Monday, you better call ahead and let them know that Steam's not letting you in. Beyond that though, Steam does have good currency translation for places where the currency does not move over to USD well. If you're living in an area where your currency does not trade over to US dollar well, you might want to look into buying through Steam. Take note though, if you start buying through Square Enix, you can move over to Steam at any time, but once you're on Steam, you're there forever. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh boy, the game's on sale right now, so I should buy it right now. But don't. As soon as you buy 14, there is no going back to the free trial. So you should play your free trial until you need to buy the game. There are a few things you can't do while in the free trial though. Free trial players can't use yell, or shout, or tell, but they can reply to in-game tells. Free trial players also can't start a party, but they can join one. So if you are a free trial player, you can ask someone who's not to invite you and a friend to a party, and then leave the party so that you can use that party. Free trial players can't hire retainers, which means you have no storage space beyond your inventory. They can't have more than 300,000 gil, and they can't join a free company, which is essentially Final Fantasy's version of guilds and clans. But surprisingly, they can join link shells and crossworld link shells as long as someone else makes it. This is very helpful for staying in contact with your friends while you're free trial and they are not. You also cannot trade or use the market board while on a free trial account. So that means everything that you earn until you buy the game has to be earned by you. There are some other limitations, but I really don't want the part about buying the game to be longer than the rest of the video, so I'm gonna call it here. Now let's talk data centers. The first step to picking your data center is to pick the right physical data center. This may sound like an easy task because all you need to do is pick the area in the world that you are closest to, but it's very important to know that there is no traveling between physical data centers. It's also an important note that your physical data center is going to make a huge difference on your ping to the game. If you plan on doing endgame content, your ping will matter. Now we can talk about logical data centers. We heard you like data centers, so we put data centers inside your data centers that you can travel between. The ping difference between logical data centers is going to be much lower than the ping difference between physical data centers. So at this point, you really should be going out of your way to join your friends. Don't have friends? We'll fix that. Just pick whichever data center you think has the cooler name. Finally, we can talk about servers. If you've got friends, again, those guys are gonna tell you where to go here. But if you're making this decision for yourself, let me tell you all about my home data center, Crystal. Balmung is for Esex. Brennhildir takes pride in being quiet, but seems to be a pretty friendly community. Corel is light on social and light on memes. You can find pretty much anything you want on Diablos. Goblet is pretty much Diablos, but with memes. Malboro is the most unremarkable place I have ever been in my life. Mateus is for people who like to RP, but not the Balmung kind of RP. And surprisingly, Zalera actually has a helpful novice network. It's great for casual learning. Don't take it all too serious though, because you can always pay $10 to move to a different world. Just be careful with preferred worlds, because you're stuck on those for 90 days. Let's get racist! The race bonuses are so minuscule in Final Fantasy that you can play whatever you want and it will not affect your job. Remember, you're gonna be playing this character for the next 5,000 hours of your life, so make something that you actually wanna look at. Or, don't. I'm not your dad. Let's talk about roles. There are 3 main roles in Final Fantasy: tanks, healers, and DPS. DPS are then further divided into melee DPS, physical range DPS, and magical range DPS. Healers are also further divided into shield healers and pure healers, but that's not going to be that important when picking your starter class. When running content as a group, it's the tank's job to hold enmity, or aggro as other games call it. It's the healer's job to keep everyone alive. And get ready for this one because it's groundbreaking, it's everyone's job to deal damage. The DPS are just really fucking good at it. Finally, we can talk about picking your starter class. As soon as you get your first class to level 10, you can do the class quest and start unlocking other classes on your main character. You do not need to make alts to play every class in Final Fantasy. One character can do everything. There are 2 tanks available from the start, Marauder and Gladiator. If you want to protect your friends and family with sword and shield, then maybe Gladiator's the choice for you. But if you'd rather run around with a big fuck off axe that scares the shit out of everyone, then maybe you should play Marauder. There's only one option if you want to be a healer, the Conjurer. If you want to conjure the power of the elements to keep your party alive, this is probably the starting class for you. DPS gets quite a few starting options. If you want to fling arrows at your enemies, you can choose Archer. If you'd rather read books and fling words at your enemies, you can choose Arcanist. For those of you who rather look into the eyes of your enemies while you maul them to death, look no further than melee classes. A pugilist's pleasure precipitates from punching people profusely with their fists and fist weapons. Lancer's weapon of choice is the lance, or a big spear that you can use to shish kebab your enemies. And tip top secret, if you'd rather start as a rogue with 2 daggers, you can choose to start as Arcanist or Marauder, do your level 10 class quest, and then pick up the road quest at Limsa Lominsa docks. Do not pick Thaumaturge as a starting class. It is very difficult. If you are new to MMOs or Final Fantasy, you will struggle and you will have a bad time. This is only a guide to classes, not jobs. When a class reaches level 30 in Final Fantasy, it becomes a job and gains the rest of its job abilities, really fleshing out the class. If you're looking for a job guide, click the card and check out Cyan's definitive job guide for Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not going to go into it because I cannot explain it better than he did. Also, that job guide is probably going to be totally obsolete next expansion, sorry about that. Now, my young warrior of light, with this new information, begin your journey into 14. And keep your eyes out, because we're just getting started.